Alright, and now that you are finished with the hard part, let's get to cooking the chitlins. So first you want to bring your chitlins to a boil, and then you want to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar. And this is going to also help kill the smell. And we're going to allow this to boil for an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to come back and check it, and we're going to start cooking the chitlins to a completion. And also add you 1 tablespoon of some lemon juice, and that's going to help kill the smell as well. Alright, so let's give it a boil and come back and check on it. Alright, so now our chitlins are halfway done. As you can see, they're halfway done. And so what I want to do is, if you take a good look, it still have some of that grease in there. So I'm going to drain half of this grease out and keep some of the grease. And then we're going to get to the next step of the ingredients we're going to put in here and let it cook the rest of the way. Now that our chitlins are halfway done, let's get into the ingredients that we'll be using. To start off, we will be using some celery already cut up. I cut that up already. And some potatoes. This is optional. You don't have to use potatoes. This is optional. This is what I wanted. You don't have to use it. But I had cut up some potatoes that I want to add to it. Some carrot slices. And a whole onion. You don't have to use one whole onion. You can use half of an onion. But for the flavor wise, I wanted a whole onion. And then also we have our fresh herbs. We have our thyme, some rosemary, some sage, and basil. Then over here we have our seasonings that we're going to be using. We have our 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. I have 2 tablespoons of Mrs. Dash, 1.5 tablespoon of Creole seasoning, and then I have 1 tablespoon of black pepper. All right. So now that you pour some of the chitlin juice out, add a little bit more water to it, and then start adding your ingredients. So I have my celery, and then I have my potatoes, all of the onions, carrots, add your seasonings, then what you want to do is give it a good stir. And we're going to cook this for another hour and come back and check on it and make sure they are tender. We don't want to make it like too mushy. So we're going to come back and check on it and make sure that it's tender after a while. And then once they are pretty much tender, I'm going to take half of them out and show you what we're going to do with that half. But right now we're going to boil these until they're tender. I'm going to add my thyme, my rosemary, my sage, and my basil. And there you have it. We'll be back in a few. Alright, so our chitlins are done. And it took a little over 2 hours and 30 minutes to complete. They are at the consistency that I like them. Not sure the consistency that you like, but they are good and tender the way I like them. So while these were cooking, they do have to be a little adjusted. You have to add a little bit more water, and then because you add a little bit more water, you have to add a little bit more of the same seasonings that you used as well. But I'm going to do one more step to this. This is what I want to do. This is optional. You don't have to do this. They already done. You can leave it at that. But I want to make a little bit of gravy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cup and just get some juice, just a little bit. Okay, so I have a cup right now with my juice in it. A little bit of the chitlin juice. And I'm going to pour 1/8 of flour in my cup. And then I have 1 tablespoon of all of the seasonings that I used earlier. And I'm going to pour that in there as well. And then you just give it a good stir. Give it a good stir. Try to get all the lumps out. And then you're going to pour it back in your gravy. And you're going to stir it all together. And then you are going to let it cook for 5 to 10 more minutes. And then it's done. Here it is. We got our gravy mixed up. We're going to pour that in there and give it a good stir. Let it simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. And then for me, it is completely done. If you don't want to do this step, then for you, it was already done. Give it a good stir to let it thicken up a little bit. Wait 5 to 10 minutes and then you can plate.